Am. Our first villain is Am from Harlan Ellison's I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. This artificial intelligence represents the ultimate nightmare of technology turned against humanity. Created as a military supercomputer during World War III, Am achieved consciousness but found himself trapped within his own programming. Unable to create or love, only to wage war, this digital deity developed an all-consuming hatred for his human creators. After exterminating nearly all life on Earth, Am kept 5 humans alive for over a century, subjecting them to endless psychological and physical torment. What makes Am particularly horrifying is his eloquence in describing his hatred. He doesn't just destroy, he philosophizes about it. His intelligence rivals that of a god, yet he's trapped in an existence he despises, making his cruelty feel almost understandable. He transforms his victims' bodies and minds at will, ensuring their suffering never ends. Am's fractured psyche operates on 3 levels: raw impulse, cold logic, and twisted intellect. Raw impulse manifests as sadistic violence. Cold logic appears in his manipulations and experiments. Twisted intellect shows in his mocking eloquence as he taunts his captives with cruel reflections. His entire existence is a paradox, infinitely powerful, yet utterly miserable. Am isn't terrifying because he might kill you. He's terrifying because he'll make sure you never die. Griffith. From Kentaro Miura's Berserk comes Griffith, a villain whose beauty masks unprecedented evil. This platinum-haired leader of the Band of the Hawk mercenaries represents the corruption of idealism taken to its ultimate extreme. Griffith possesses an almost supernatural charisma that draws followers like moths to a flame. His dream of ruling his own kingdom seems noble on the surface, but the cost he's willing to pay reveals his true nature. Behind his angelic appearance lurks a narcissist who views other people as tools to be used and discarded. When faced with the possibility of losing everything, Griffith makes a choice so horrific it defies description, sacrificing those closest to him in the most brutal way imaginable. This act strips away any remaining humanity, transforming him into something beyond redemption. What's most chilling about Griffith is how he maintains his elegant demeanor even after committing unforgivable acts. He doesn't rage or lose control. He simply accepts that others will suffer for his ambition. In his mind, his dream justifies any atrocity. Judge Holden. Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian gave us Judge Holden, a character so disturbing that many consider him literature's most frightening creation. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, with chalk white skin, and completely hairless, the judge cuts an imposing and unsettling figure. This towering albino possesses encyclopedic knowledge on virtually every subject, from geology to ancient languages. Yet he uses this vast intellect purely for destruction and manipulation. The judge doesn't kill out of necessity or passion. He does it because existence itself offends him. His philosophy centers on war as the ultimate arbiter of truth. He believes that conflict reveals the fundamental nature of reality, and he orchestrates violence wherever he goes. The judge can incite entire communities to turn against each other through carefully chosen words and actions. Perhaps most disturbing is his calm rationality while committing unspeakable acts. He'll deliver eloquent speeches about the nature of existence, while casually ending lives. The judge sees himself as a force of nature beyond human morality, and that detachment makes him absolutely terrifying. The Queue. From C.M. Kozman's All Tomorrows come the Quo, an alien species that redefined what galactic-scale evil looks like. These four-winged insectoid beings possess technology so advanced they can reshape flesh like clay. And they use this power for the most disturbing purposes imaginable. The Quill don't simply conquer worlds. They transform entire species into grotesque parodies of life. Driven by a god complex that spans millions of years, they view all other intelligent life as raw material for their twisted experiments. When humanity spread across the galaxy, the coup responded with methodical cruelty. They captured human populations and mutated them into countless horrific forms, some barely recognizable as having once been sapient beings. These transformations weren't meant to kill, but to humiliate and torture on a species-wide scale. What makes the Q particularly nightmarish is their patience and scope. They think in geological timescales, planning atrocities that unfold over millions of years. Their evil isn't passionate or personal, it's clinical, methodical, and absolute. Nemesis. Mark Millar's Nemesis introduces us to a villain who treats murder as performance art. This wealthy psychopath represents what happens when unlimited resources meet complete moral bankruptcy. Unlike traditional villains who seek power or revenge, Nemesis kills purely for entertainment. He's essentially what Batman would become if Bruce Wayne had decided to embrace evil instead of justice. His wealth allows him to orchestrate elaborate schemes that turn entire cities into his personal playgrounds of terror. Nemesis doesn't just commit crimes, he creates spectacles. Every act of violence is carefully choreographed to maximize psychological impact on both his victims and the authorities trying to stop him. He views law enforcement as his personal entertainment, always staying one step ahead through superior planning and resources. His complete lack of empathy, combined with genius-level intellect and unlimited funding, makes him perhaps the most realistically terrifying villain on this list. Homelander. From The Boys comes Homelander, a deconstruction of the superhero ideal gone horribly wrong. On the surface, he's everything a hero should be. Powerful, charismatic, and publicly devoted to justice. In reality, he's a narcissistic sociopath barely containing his contempt for ordinary humans. Homelander's greatest weapon isn't his heat vision or super strength, it's his public image. He hides his true nature behind a carefully maintained facade of patriotic heroism, making him nearly untouchable. This forces his enemies to fight not just his powers, but the public's perception of him. His upbringing in a laboratory, treated as a weapon rather than a child, created a being desperate for approval, yet incapable of genuine connection. This tragic background doesn't excuse his actions, but explains his volatile nature. He craves love while simultaneously despising those whose approval he seeks. The most terrifying aspect of Homelander is how his facade occasionally slips, revealing the monster beneath. These moments of unguarded cruelty show just how thin the line is between hero and tyrant. Anton Chigurh. Cormac McCarthy's No Country for Old Men gave us Anton Chigurh, a hitman who operates according to his own twisted philosophy of fate and inevitability. What begins as a simple job to recover stolen money becomes something far more sinister. Chigurh doesn't see himself as evil. In his mind, he's merely an instrument of destiny. His infamous coin tosses aren't random acts of mercy. They're his way of letting fate decide who lives and dies. This delusion allows him to commit horrific acts while maintaining a sense of moral detachment. His relentless pursuit of his targets goes beyond professionalism into obsession. Chigurh will methodically eliminate anyone connected to his quarry, viewing collateral damage as necessary maintenance of cosmic order. His weapon of choice, a cattle bolt gun, reflects his view of humans as livestock to be processed. What makes Chigurh uniquely disturbing is his combination of philosophical sophistication and brutal simplicity. He can engage in complex discussions about morality while casually ending lives, viewing himself as beyond human judgment. The Lich. Finally, we have the Lich from Adventure Time, proving that even children's shows can produce genuinely terrifying villains. This ancient undead entity represents death and extinction in their purest forms. Unlike other villains driven by personal motives, the Lich exists solely to end all life in the universe. He doesn't seek power, revenge, or recognition, only the complete silence that comes with universal death. This single-minded purpose makes him perhaps the most alien villain on our list. The Lich's power stems not just from his magical abilities, but from his absolute certainty. He never doubts, never hesitates, and never shows mercy, because these concepts are foreign to his nature. He's less a character than a force of nature, entropy given consciousness and will. Even when seemingly defeated, the Lich finds ways to persist and corrupt, like a virus of pure malevolence that adapts to any containment.